Welcome to the second Eatmyink Podcast. This podcast relates to the first one in that the motor that Brayden Davis won with a PDRA race at Galat this past weekend was the only surviving GSX motor in North America not burned up in Dan Wagner's garage fire. I talked to Brayden, his parents Travis and Brandy, the day after Brayden's surprise win at Galat Motorsports in the PDRA Pro Nitrous motorcycle class. You'll hear all those interviews right now. This is Brayden?
Yeah.
Brayden, it's Tim Haley. Long time no see. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm fantastic. Our careers have taken us at slightly different racetracks, but man, you were a kid the last time I saw you.
It's been a minute.
And now you just won Pro Nitrous motorcycle. Tell me about it.
Coming into the weekend, I hadn't never even run Pro Mod. Fastest pass I had been was 4:56, and it's kind of just play it by ear, and when we got there, the clutch was acting up just in the trailer, just a regular warm-up, and we missed our first test session, and that hurt us there, and, then we went up there for the last test session, and the fuel pump was unplugged when I left, and it wasn't starting out good and wasn't looking very promising, but I knew Dad and all his years of knowledge, and we'd be all right. And first round of qualifying, the two-step button had failed and rolled me through the lights, and the last qualifier, and put a 412 down, just put an A to B tune-up in, and just try to get down the racetrack, and it worked. And I had to run Chris first round. We knew we had to turn it up, and Dad was wanting to be conservative with it, being I was a new rider, and he didn't want to go out there in the bike, do something stupid with me. But
sure,
I told him, I said, we're here to win, and we got to send it because we know how tough Chris is.
Yeah.
So that's about how it went.
What'd you run that round?
Went 401 first round.
Shit. And Chris must have been stunned at the other end of the track, huh?
Yeah, as we was going down, I looked in the corner of my eye, and he was right there, and he told me, he said, man, I didn't think you, he said, I knew I was fast. He said, so I knew you was, and it's just, I got him on the tree, and that was the deciding factor of that one.
Wow.
But then from then on, it progressed. Going to threes in my first race, a lot of people's been doing it a lot of years, and never went to threes, and but with the motorcycle we have and my dad, just everybody that helps us, it's not a surprise. The bike has done it numerous times.
Yep.
It's awesome. That's what it is.
So what did it feel like actually, let's stick with eliminations for a minute. So you had Chris round one, then what after that, who'd you have?
I had to run Eric McKinney, second round.
The 27-time champion.
Yeah, he's won a lot. He's been doing it a long time.
And how'd that pair go?
He went 404 first round, and, we had him covered on the performance side of it for right then. And, we actually took some power out of it and let the air come to it, and, just tried to get it to hook up down low. And, it still spun a little bit, but I knew it was trucking through the middle pretty hard. And, I got him on the tree, but on the line when I went to get on the two-step, the clutch wasn't disengaging. It pulled me into the stage beam. And, a lot of people, like my dad said, he told me I did a good job recovering. A lot of people would have freaked out or, this or that. And my mindset was just to get it figured out, because when you want to win that bad, you do what you got to do. And, I got it figured out. I got it on the chip. And the time I got on the chip, he turned the bottom bulb on. So we got lucky on that one. I saved us that round, but it had my blood pumping there for a minute.
Right. So then, what was your light like against Eric?
I believe I was 21. Mm-hmm. He was 37.
Mm-hmm.
First round I was 19, and Chris was 30 also. He made me run for it. That's what he told me. He said, "I was gonna make you have to earn it," and I said, "Well, I wouldn't want it any other way. Right. I don't like it given to me." And
right.
I mean, it was a tough race day. I mean, to beat a past world champ first round, and Eric, a past world champ, and then Michelle, guys who've been riding for years.
Sure.
And I mean, it felt like I was living a dream out here.
Right.
I mean, everybody knows I've always wanted to run pro mod. I mean, right. I know a lot of people ain't in it, but to me, that is, 460 is tough. I've done it. I've been there, but pro mod is something else. That class is really tough right now.
Uh-huh.
I think you'll see a lot of great things happen there this year. And, I mean, and really, pro mod's not that bad. 460 is harder to ride to me than pro mod.
Right. Well, I think what keeps people out of pro mod is they think it's extremely expensive.
It's that and the shortage of parts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not conservative with your motors, you will run through some parts in a hurry.
Sure. Making the leap from 456 to 390. What'd you run? A 398?
Yeah, 398.
398 in one weekend seems fairly dramatic to drop basically half a second off your ET in an eighth mile. What did that feel like for you?
It's kind of hard to describe, It's just being, I ride the same bike in 460.
Mm-hmm.
The pro mod bike isn't meant to go that slow, so it's a lot more of a handful.
Okay.
But when we put the weight on the motorcycle, to be able to run pro mod, and you lay the power to it, it's smooth. And a lot of that is, Walt Timlin with his chassis.
Uh-huh.
And he builds the best ones. I swear it's like riding in a Cadillac.
Uh-huh.
I mean, every pass was just phenomenal. I moved on it some, but I mean, it was really smooth. I mean, I felt real comfortable on it.
So it really was more of a handful at 460 than it was at 398.
It was way more of a handful.
Huh.
I mean, I know it sounds weird, but even Dad said it, because at the house before we even went, he could tell I was over exaggerating how bad pro mod would be, because you think about it and you look at it.
Uh-huh.
You see a lot of crazy stuff happen.
Sure.
But after the first pass, I knew I could do it, and I mean, it carried on from there.
Tell me a little bit more about your everyday life. What are you doing now these days? Are you still in school? What's going on?
I'm a junior.
All right.
I do, work at a peanut mill. It's a seasonal deal. Mm-hmm. I don't work full time, and I can't really because of school and then our racing habits. And then, be honest with you, all I do every day is, when I'm not in school, I'm hunting or fishing, or me and Dad's out there turning wrenches on that motorcycle.
All right.
I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into it.
I'm sure you do. Who do you want to thank?
I start out with my mom and dad, for having the confidence in me, for putting me on this motorcycle. And Monster Race Products, Max ECU, Steve Nichols, Dan Wagner with DTM Performance, Worldwide Bearings, Fast by Gas, with Timlin Chassis, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. There's a lot of people. I know I'm going to miss some.
That's all right.
That's the main ones, though, for sure, that help us.
Sure. And now, you also won Junior Dragster.
Yeah. I do want to add in there to thank Stuart Crane.
Okay,
That
right.
was Reward Speed Racing. That was his GSX motor that he built that we run all weekend.
Right, and I plan on talking to your dad more about that.
It's showing a lot of potential. It's a bad to the bone motor.
Yes, sir. So Junior Dragster, how do you feel about that now that you won a big boy class? Do you feel like you still want to continue with Junior Dragster through the rest of the year? Or are you thinking, why don't I sell that to somebody and concentrate on what I'm doing here?
A lot of people's asked me that, they're like, you want to get out of juniors? And I'm just like, it just adds to it, you're getting your money worth, going up there racing and then running the junior. And, like this weekend, it worked out perfect for us.
Yep.
And I mean, I still love racing juniors. I do. I get aggravated with them. I've been doing it for a while, and you start doing new stuff, old stuff. You just get tired of. Well, being we done so good, I think like Dad said, we'll be in Virginia and try and run for a championship in both, and just take it one race at a time. That's the main thing.
All right. Sounds like the smart way to go about it. All right, Brayden. Hey, man, congratulations. You've inspired me to make it out. Well, you and Michelle too. I didn't realize Michelle was going to be there, and maybe when y'all get a little closer to me here in the Midwest, I will try to make it out to a race soon.
Yep, sounds good.
Hey, one more thing. I heard Michelle rubbed up against the wall in the final. Did that happen, or?
He, toward the end when I run him, I seen him over there, and his rolled over bad.
Yeah.
At the finish line, and he didn't hit the wall, but I mean he probably had. It was a matter of inches.
Right.
He had it rolled over on the frame. Sparks flying. It kind of scared me for a minute. To see Buddy do that.
Sure.
But he didn't get up against the wall, but he got lucky. Track was killer all weekend though. I mean, nighttime air to do was starting to set in, and that's one thing on these bikes. They can start getting, spinning on the other end.
Yep.
Rolling over. So, but he was good, and we're all glad he was.
All right, man. Definitely have your parents give me a call.
Okay, I will. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you, Brayden. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this Brandy?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Brandy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I had no doubt your kid was raised right, but he must listen really well to have adapted so quickly to riding that motorcycle.
Yes, he did. He was very determined.
Well, I mean, being determined is one thing, but being 17 years old and being able to listen.
Right.
And I'm sure he had to do a lot of listening and not going into this thinking he already knew how to do this.
Right. Exactly.
That really says something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So you did your job well. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Everything. I mean, it was amazing. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's I wouldn't say it was the last thing I expected, but I really didn't expect that at all, especially.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I mean, just like you say, from being there and getting on a Pro Mod motorcycle and then making a pass and near about skipping the O's and going straight to the 390s. I mean, there was a lot of things getting accomplished real quick.
Right. And especially considering, he told me all the trouble that y'all had, in testing.
Yeah, we was beginning to wonder at first. It was just couple of minor things. We, before we left going to Galot, Travis had stayed out there till like 2:00 in the morning, testing I think he was testing the, booster solenoid. So of course he unplugged the fuel pump.
Oh.
And that was one of the issues. The fuel pump didn't get plugged back up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we had a two-step button situation malfunction.
Right.
But once we got these two things out of the way, things started coming together.
No cranker nut problems.
No cranker nut. I knew that was coming. No cranker nut problems. Not this time.
Is Travis around for me to speak to him, or would you?
I told Brayden to go get him. He's supposed to be coming. That's the reason I figured I'd go ahead and call.
Okay.
He's supposed to be on his way up here.
Okay. And
of course, time he got home, he's out there in the race trailer with it.
Oh yeah. No, I figured as much for sure. Now here's a question for you: Is did Travis's grandparents, anybody in his family that beyond John, did anybody race, or is
I don't believe so.
Okay,
I think John was, because I think his dad was into horses.
Okay.
But as far as drag racing, I don't believe so.
Okay, because I'm referring to Brayden as a third generation racer, and I wanted to see if that was correct or not.
That's correct. That's the way I've seen it put in the past.
So now, is Travis, is he, what made him decide, and this is a question for him, but I'll go ahead and ask it for you because you're there. What made him decide to put Brayden in the seat of that motorcycle instead of himself?
Well, he had already planned on, actually before all this, we had kind of thought, well, okay, Travis is going, cause you've got PDRA, you've got XDA. There's just so many different organizations, that we can't run them all, even though we'd like to.
Right.
We were planning on, he was just going to take a break. He might, at first he was thinking about riding at Galot with the GSX motor. Mm-hmm. And, then we kind of just, then we were going to change back to 460 and just run as many 460 races as we could with Brayden. Mm-hmm. But then we're always talking about it and just out of the blue, we just
decided to give it a shot.
We said, we'll just go and test with him. If testing goes good, we'll carry it on into the race, even though testing didn't go good.
But it wasn't Brayden's fault. It was the old man's fault.
Yeah. We just, there wasn't nothing showing us not to, so we just kept on with it and put him in the race, and everything started coming together.
All right. So this wasn't really a conscious retirement. So what are the chances we'll have a 2-bike team at some point?
We've talked about, we still have the turbo bike.
Right.
There's been talk about possibly making some changes to it, slowing it down and running 460 with it.
Uh-huh.
With Brayden on our bike in 460.
Uh-huh.
But, nothing's been etched in stone. There's just been talk about it. But as far as building another pro mod bike, I don't see that happening.
Right. Is Brayden want to go back to 460, or is he just all in for pro mod now?
No, he's still interested in 460.
Uh-huh.
He still enjoys riding his 560 bike.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, when we first started, we were kind of thinking, okay, we're not going to run as many PDRA. We're probably going to concentrate on XDA.
Uh-huh.
Because that XDA can run 460, Super Comp, Pro ET. Mm-hmm. There's several classes.
Sure.
But when this come up and we decided to go here and do this, we said we'll just wait and see how the weekend goes. Mm-hmm. If it goes good, then more than likely, because he's always wanted to run for that type of championship. So
sure.
being that this weekend went good.
Yes, it did.
Plan on being in because the Virginia race, PDRA Virginia race, is April 20th, 21st, something like same weekend as XDA. So
Really?
we'll be at the PDRA.
Yeah, well, right.
So we're going to try for a championship with him.
Yeah, as well you should.
Yeah, and Travis just walked in too.
Okay, very good. Well, hey, Brandy, thank you very much, and congratulations. I'm really excited for you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Tim.
Travis, how you doing? So, the GSX, what made you decide to put that motor in there?
Well, the biggest reason we built that motor is just the parts of the GS is so hard to find.
Uh-huh.
And all my GS motors, I run the old Falcon crankshafts in there, the 72 millimeters, and you know, they're out of business now. So once you break them, they're done.
Right.
And then you're at the mercy of Vance and Hines.
Yes, sir.
I haven't had good luck with their crankshafts in the past, and you know, so Dan was doing this deal with the turbos and Stuart Crane and them overseas, and so we built a nitrous motor and just to kind of see if it would hold its own with them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, it's the GSX. I'm capable of building a nitrous motor bigger than anything that's ever been in the class.
Mm-hmm.
But they only allow us 1850 on the CC limit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we built this in here at 1755, and that's the same as anybody that's got a Vance and Hines crank.
Gotcha.
So, you know, once the bigger cranks are gone, then the rest of the class ain't going to really be able to get their hands on anything but stuff that's smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like that they'll make a rule, revise a rule, and probably the CC limit will go down in the future, I think.
Okay. All right.
So, and the plain bearing stuff, you know, it's just time to do something different, you know, and get away from the old pressed together roller bearing cranks.
I hear you. Have you read anything I've written about the White Alligator Racing plain bearing crank that they started running last year?
Yeah, I was kind of, I talked with Tim Cunningham and them. I know them, and I talked with them prior to that ever coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were interested in this GSX motor.
Mm-hmm.
But getting it approved at NHRA was probably the biggest snag that they had with this motor is the reason they didn't do that.
Right. But I mean, in terms of the crankshaft that they have built and ran in the Pro Stock bike a few times last year, and I think they're planning on doing it more this year. Just curious if you've looked into that crankshaft at all.
Well, and when we talked about it, before they even had that crank built, the stuff that I've done was already in place. So we have Marine crankshaft that does all the big Busa cranks and you know, Marine crankshaft. That's who built the crank for this GSX for me.
Gotcha.
And so time you buy the crank and put the rods on it, I'm still cheaper than the crankshaft used to cost me. With my chassis, the Timberland deal, we took it over there and Walt made plates that bolts right to his chassis. So there was no welding to be done. The GSX motor mounts are pretty close to the GS.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have to change anything but just bolt on accessories.
All right. I was congratulating Brandy on how well Brayden's been raised, and that he must listen very well, because for him to be able to get on that bike and perform as well as he did, he must listen to you very well, I'm guessing.
He does, and ever since he was old enough to walk, that's all he's ever known, listened to. I mean, he can stand at the starting line and tell you stuff about a motorcycle that some of the other tuners don't even realize what's happening. Or the riders don't know what's happening. But that's just where he's always been.
Right.
And, you know, and prior to him getting on this and running Pro Mod, he's done he's done made 200 passes in his mind sitting on the bike how it's going to be,
Right. All right. So then he was saying in that first round against Chris, you weren't necessarily sure you were ready to give him the full tilt tune-up, and he said, well, we didn't come here to lose. Let's send it.
That's pretty much the way he put it to me, and I was kind of shooting for a 404, maybe 403, somewhere in there, just to give him a shot at it.
Yeah.
And with him on there, it's just a little quicker than it is with me.
Sure. So did you think, well, did you have any reservations about giving him that kind of tune-up, or did you figure he was,
I didn't when I left the trailer, but when he was on the starting line, fitting to release the button, I'm real nervous. And I mean, it's just, I can't even explain it. I mean, I'm just nervous, because I know how violent these things are. And when things ain't good, things can go bad in a hurry with them,
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to give him the fastest, safest motorcycle I can and not get him in over his head.
Mm-hmm.
Where, when people look at 398 like, well, that's way over his head. Well, when he went to 401, the first thing out of his mouth down there, he says, that didn't even really feel that fast.
Right.
That's what I wanted to hear because he's not scared.
Right. Well, he said the bike was much easier to ride as a pro mod than it was as a tuned for 460.
Yeah, with 460, we had no weight on the bike. So him on that motorcycle with no weight is somewhere around 570 pounds, 580. So it's a real light package.
Mm-hmm.
So he feels every little bump in the track. It's everything and that's there. So when we bolted all the weight on the bike, now if you don't have enough power in it, like the first pass he made on it, it tried to roll over with him pretty good because it didn't have a lot of power in it.
Right.
So when we stood the power up and got it bowed up on the bars and back, kept the front wheel up, it was just smooth riding for him then.
You must have taken out an incredible amount of power to add weight and slow the bike down to 460. I'm sorry, take weight away and slow the bike down to 460.
Well, what we do is we run, I run jets in there probably littler than most top gas bikes run.
Uh-huh.
So it's got little bitty jets in there, no timing.
Uh-huh.
We don't really turn the motor that hard. And, so, we've got a real competitive 460 tune-up.
Sure.
Yeah, like I say, the biggest, which I hadn't talked to you in a long time, but, the biggest thing that's turned our pro mod program around and got me to 4 championships that I've won over there is the monster heads.
Oh, okay.
I switched up to them 2 or 3 years ago. I don't even remember how long it was ago now. I got serial number 001. It was the very first one that George Bryce and them had. It was at the Man Cups years ago on the table.
Right.
And then I wound up with another one, but the heads has just been so durable and makes a lot of power. And last year I ran the whole season and won the championship with the same engine, never freshened it up, I looked at it and checked stuff out, but I didn't have to do anything to it and ran all them laps on it.
Well, that's good news for everybody who thinks that running a pro mod motorcycle is too expensive. It
is. It's as long as you get good parts and tune smart and for all the different kind of weather conditions, you should be fine.
I've been meaning to do a whole story on just the GSX. So maybe that'll be something I do next.
And we put the GSX. So we took that whole bottom end motor. It's got a Hayabusa 6-speed transmission in it, that the same tranny that the Hayabusas run.
Uh-huh.
Bill Robinson built the transmission for it with the ratios I wanted.
Uh-huh.
And we put that monster head right on top of that GSX motor.
Actually, that is another question I wanted to ask, and I don't mean to bring this up to be critical of anybody, but do you run that bike on auto shift, or does Brayden shift it?
We auto shift it, and
okay.
and he has shifted it some and when it was slower, but as fast as this thing is now with a 6-speed, there's just no way for him to be able to. I'm not going to say that he can't shift it. It just wouldn't be where we need him to shift it at.
Gotcha. And again, it's all good to me. So I don't bring that up as any point other than just that want to know.
Yeah. And even when I rode it, I didn't shift it, and I shifted the bikes for years, but
sure.
They're coming so quick. It's just impossible to do it near about it.
All right, Travis. Well, congratulations to you and the whole family. And I bet John's tickled pink. I bet it's a great story. It's great news.
Yep, everybody's happy, and we come back with a running motorcycle, and we thought we was going to be 460 racing a bunch this year, and we still will some, but I reckon the focus is going to change a little bit now.
I hear you. I bet.
All right. Well, we look forward to coming down and hanging out with us.
All right. Our paths will cross soon. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. Please share it with your friends who would be interested. And look for the next one. Let me know what topics you'd be interested in. Thank you very much.